As runners, we all challenge ourselves in ways we never thought possible, pushing the boundaries of what we're capable of to smash through targets and set ourselves new, bigger and better ones.
This awesome hobby that we share gives us one thing in common, and it brings us together as a community. Whether you're working towards completing your first parkrun or you're a veteran of the sport who's run 100 ultra marathons, we all know the feeling of reaching that maxed out effort and our own red line.
Welcome to our podcast, where your hosts Brett Elesmore and Andy Maguire discuss the struggles, the successes and everything in between on our running journeys, as we all work towards the next time we're running the red line. Hello and welcome to episode 51 of Running the Red Line. I am your host Brett and I am joined as always by Andy. How are you doing this week, mate?
I'm all right, thanks. I'll tell you what I'm getting into in a big way this week, which I think you'll be pleased with. Tea. I'm back on the tea.
Wow.
I've for the last, I reckon, 10 years, maybe not that long, but I've just become like a bit obsessed with coffee. And the last few weeks I've just been because my job, I have to go around to people's houses and the first thing they ask you is, do you want a cup of tea? And I'm sick of saying they say, do you want a tea or coffee? And I'm sick of worrying about what coffee they're going to give me, whether it's going to be Kenko, or whether it's going to be proper. So I just sat up, I have a cup of tea. So I'm getting really into it. I'm having a cup of tea couple of cups of tea every day now, and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Back on the tea.
Well, I don't drink tea very often. Tea is a nighttime drink for me. I don't drink tea in the daytime. I'm definitely a coffee man. But I know what you mean by when people offer you a coffee, because there's no such thing as good instant coffee, is there?
Do you remember the fish and 20 miler? Do you remember the coffee after that?
Yeah.
Your face was a picture. I think they were like, oh, do you want I think you were expecting like a flat white or a cortado or something.
Yeah, and it was some instant coffee already in the cup, probably sat there all day, and some water in one of what was it, a bain marie? Yeah,
it was. Oh,
and then ran out of normal milk as well, so I had to have some non-milk milk.
Oh, funny stuff, like powdered milk or something. Oh, good stuff.
Well, no, it was one of these nut milks, which isn't milk because it's just nuts and water mixed together.
Oh, like an almond milk or a soy milk or something.
Yeah, I don't understand how they can call it milk because it's not been milked.
Have you tried this? I'm probably sure you're going to say, ugh, no. But do you enjoy an oat milk latte? Have you tried one of them?
An oat milk latte? Oat milk is okay. I don't mind oat milk too much because it adds like a porridgey taste, and I quite like porridge. So but it's not really milk.
Out of all the non-dairy milks, that's one of the best, I think, oat milk.
Yes, definitely.
Soy milk is just that's. I don't think that even qualifies as a liquid. That's I don't know how anybody puts that in the tea.
Almond milk's too watery.
Yeah. But I don't mind oat milk, but only in coffees. But you can't have like oat milk on your cereal, can you?
No, exactly. You might as well just pour water on them.
Yeah. Do you know, that reminds me when I was a kid, we used to have us three growing up, me and my sisters. I'd always get shafted because my sisters wake up before me, so they'd get the milk, and I'd get a little splash of milk on my Frosties and be like, Mom, what's going on here? Where's my milk? She goes, oh, don't worry, Andrew. We'll just make it up with a bit of water. So she'd put water in. She'd water down my milk with my cornflakes. I'm like, Mum, what are you doing? Like, I didn't realize until I was a lot older that no one else does that in the world apart from my mum. So I think well, this is how we used to get by. When I were lads.
Yeah. You have to ration it and water it down if needed. Yeah. But it doesn't surprise me that you haven't changed a little bit since you were little. And you were the last one up and late there. That's surprising, isn't it?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was probably just probably snoozed my alarm about 18 times as well. So
yeah,
I'll be down in a minute.
I was going to say, did you pull up and skid your little tykes onto the grass and run to the start line to eat your breakfast?
You know, you park on a finish line at Parkrun once, and that's all anybody remembers. It was either that or park at the industrial estate and arrive at about 9:20. And I wasn't prepared to do that.
I know.
So I took up a few marshal's positions with my and the good news is it wasn't even my car, it was Laura's car. So if there's any ANPRs at Arrow Valley, it's not me that's getting the ticket, it's Laura.
Amazing.
Sauce. So I've had a fairly decent week. It's been cold again, hasn't it? The old
it has. Do you know,
cold
on yesterday's run, it was the first time this winter I have actually properly felt cold on a run. I checked the weather before I left, and it said it was 5 or 6 degrees. So I was like, that's cool. Don't need gloves, don't need anything. So went for a run. Man, I couldn't feel my hands by the time I got to my shop. It was freezing.
Don't you love when it says temperature 3 degrees feels like -4? I'm like, well, it's -4 then. If it feels like -4, it's -4.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know where they're getting their temperature readings from. How it can feel like a completely different temperature to what it is. How is that possible? But there we go.
I reckon the feels like temperature is just like someone who's just miserable at work, and they've just said, go and stand outside and tell us how cold you think it really is, and we'll tell you when you come in. -10.
I tell you, it feels like it's -10 out here.
That's how they get the feels like temperature.
Yeah.
Just some disgruntled office worker. Probably someone who's coming late and they've had to be punished by doing the testing out the feels like temperature. But I went out for a run today, and it was bitterly cold. It was quite windy. It was one of those days where it's just like a bitterly cold wind. And it's just like, I don't know about you. I do like the winter, don't get me wrong. I like the winter, like most people, when it's a crisp winter's day, when it's lovely and sunny, not a breath of wind. You don't mind it if it's -10 because it's sunny and you're still getting a bit of vitamin D and you still feel good about life. But when it's grey and 5 degrees, or not even that, 2 degrees every day, and windy and drizzling, it's like, roll on spring, man. I feel like the eternal winter we're in the bleak midwinter at the moment, aren't we? And I'm just ready. Yeah. Well, the daffodils have started sprouting round here.
Yeah.
Which is giving me a bit of hope.
It's supposed to be getting colder again this next week, though. We're in for another cold spell, so.
Brilliant. Wonder how cold that will feel like. Feels like -20.
You talked about it. Do you take vitamin D supplements?
No, I just rely on it to be sunny.
Oh, okay.
So that's why my skin's so bad.
Because
why my immune system's terrible.
That's one of the several tablets I take each morning as vitamin D. But they say runners, even though you're outside in the winter, you should take a vitamin D supplement as well to add, because even though you're out and you are getting sunlight, most of the time you're wearing long sleeve tops or leggings and things like that. So actually you're not getting the vitamin D even though you're out in the sun.
Yeah, it's like a solar panel with a towel thrown over it. It's pointless.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not recharging it in any way. So I mean, I I never wear long sleeves. I haven't. I wear shorts and a short sleeve t-shirt no matter the weather. The only time I'll put a long sleeve on is if it's really below zero. But I still take a vitamin D supplement tablet each day just in case.
I've got these zinc tablets, but I took about 3 of them and then I just stopped. But like apparently all this multivitamin thing, and I didn't feel no different. But I guess that's the point, isn't it? You don't feel any different, but it is all working, but you don't really feel much different. But it is a thing though, isn't it? The old SADS, seasonal affective disorder. It is a. I wonder if that is down mainly to vitamin D. I wonder if that's a lack of that as a. Does vitamin D control things like your moods and your hormones and stuff, or is it mainly just I don't know, immune system and stuff?
But I do know people. I know people who have had SADS in the past, and they've had a special lamp which mimics sunlight that they put in their room to readjust their mood.
I tell you, I bet's got one of them, Chloe. Every time she's in the British winter, she's like, I'm not having this.
She doesn't need one because she just books another trip out to Spain or somewhere.
Where she goes today? She goes to Malaga.
Getting a fill of sunlight and then coming back to the gloomy British shores, and then books another one out there.
But so what about you then? How have you been getting on this week? You had a good week?
Yeah, all right. It's not been too bad. I've had a bit of an easy week, to be honest. With the running, I've not done any proper sessions because yesterday we had an easy run because it's cross country tomorrow, so we always have a easier day on the Thursday before a race on the weekend. So because we're all doing cross country, we had an easy run. And then earlier in the week, I pulled up a bit sore from the half on Sunday, and had a couple of niggles that were needed to be eased out rather than going for it. Because they say to recover after a race, when you go at race pace, to recover after a race, they say a day per mile. So really, before you start training hard again after a half, you should take 2 weeks off. And that doesn't mean not running. It just means running hard. But I needed a few days. So I took Tuesday easy as well. Rather than getting involved in the session, I decided to take it a bit easier.
Well, that's a fairly good, because I was going to ask this a week or two ago, but I totally forgot. That's just reminded me. What is the optimum amount of tune-up races, or what is an acceptable amount of races during your training block? Like how many's enough and how many's not enough? Do you need any?
Yeah.
Or, is 5, is that too many? Is too many 10Ks too many, or too many half marathons too many? Or should you have a mix of everything? Or, what do you think on all that?
I personally, I doubt I'll race another half before April. I don't know. I probably won't race another half at half pace. If I do another half, it'll be at probably marathon pace or just slightly quicker, not half pace, because I don't want to put too much fatigue or cause any problems or have too much recovery needed before the marathon. I mean, shorter races, it's not too bad because you can recover from them in a couple of days. But when it gets up to half and longer, it does take quite a bit of recovery. I mean, my legs pulled up really sore after the weekend.
Did they?
Yeah, my right quad was in bits, and my left calf and ankle have been a bit tender. But my left calf is the one I've had issues with over the last year.
Yeah. So before Telford, was Worcester your last half marathon race? September?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So no wonder you're probably feeling a bit
Yeah.
a bit sore the
'cause
day after. But the thing
go on.
the thing is, like, with doing these races during your block, is that none of us are really going to properly recover, are we? Because we all know we're just going to pretend that it was just a Sunday long run and not a really hard race that probably requires a good week or 10 days off running,
Yeah.
because we don't want to lose those 10 days
No.
to recovery, that we could be out running miles, we could be running sessions, or, so there's no wonder people get injured after these races. So yeah, I suppose you've got to take it with caution, haven't you? If you push too hard, you could be in trouble for your goal race. And at the end of the day, it's all about that goal race. And you, I guess, don't want to lose sight of what you're actually doing here. Like, tune-up races are just tune-up races. They shouldn't really matter.
Exactly. No, the focus, the main target is that marathon. But you could be putting that in jeopardy if you go too hard on some of the races that are in the build-up. But as I say, like, after a half, you should really take 13 days off from hard running. But I mean, what will it be? 6 days, and I'm going to race cross country tomorrow. So it's what we do, isn't it? That's what we do.
It's what we do. It's like I'll deal with it tomorrow kind of scenario, isn't it? Ask for forgiveness, not permission from yourself.
Exactly.
So
but I mean, did you go for a run on Monday after the half on Sunday?
Because it's like it's a routine, isn't it? I mean, you're probably the most routined runner I've ever met. So there's no way you're going to miss your Monday recovery day, is it? You're not going to not do.
Not when I'm in a training block. If I wasn't in a training block, I possibly would have taken the day off to actually recover a bit. But no, I'm in a training block. I need to get those miles in. So
because you want the volume, so you think, well, okay, I'm going to take Monday off. I've got to run Tuesday, but hang on, I do a session Wednesday, so I can't do anything. I can't do 15-mile Tuesday because I've got a 5K session Wednesday. Okay, all right, well, we'll flip it into the lot. I think, all right, well, if I do it Wednesday, that means I'm going to have a 25-mile day Wednesday. So it's like, all right, I'll just stick everything as it was and I'll just try and deal with it. And you just have to stubbornly get on with it, don't you?
I went out on Monday and ran 11 mile the day after a half race. So
I mean, I didn't do anything that long. I only did 6 mile, but like your volume obviously is unforgiving, really. If you miss that day, how are you going to slot in 11 miles? What was it? 10? How many miles?
I did 11 mile Monday.
Where are you going to slot in 11 miles? And you're not going to want to do it on your scheduled days off.
Exactly.
So so you just think, well, okay, I've just got to rely on the routine. The routine is king. And let's just hope that I can settle into it.
And run slow enough so you can call it active recovery.
Exactly. That's the one. So, but I mean, I was having this conversation with myself this week because I've just literally today gotten into a race. I remember being on this podcast this time last year and the same thing happened. I've just got into Bourton on the Water 10K through the waiting list. And I've got.
Have you put your entry in now?
No, not yet. I've got 24 hours to get in. And so I might even do it whilst I'm on this podcast before I go to bed. Because by the time I wake up tomorrow, link will have expired, I think. Then I'll have to go back into the end of the queue. But that's a 10K. And no doubt I'm going to be going for a hard 10K. But that falls in, I think, the 23rd of February. So it's only 3 weeks away. 3 weeks Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's like
it is,
just over 20 days away, whatever it is from now.
2 weeks Sunday.
It's
2 weeks on Sunday.
But so like, I just think, well, am I in 10K shape? Am I in that? Do I want to do one of those races and just not do well, or do I just think, go on, I do love a race.
Just
go and do it. That's it. I just think, well, I might just go and do it. I might do a Sunday long run on a Wednesday and jiggle around the days a little bit. So I feel like I can take it on the Sunday, or do, I don't know, 10 mile afterwards, or when I get home. So there are ways around it. You can do it.
Yeah.
But there were also some other races I wanted to put in. Like I really wanted to do a half marathon because, again, greedily, I want to go after that sub 90. And I wanted to do it before summer, and there's no other time for me to do it because in June, July, I don't really know a race that I could do. Maybe Derby. Apparently that's a good race to do in June, but I don't know if I wanted to maybe get closer to it. And the only one I can do is at the end of March, which is in about 6 weeks from now. And I don't know if I can find 2 minutes off my PB in 6 weeks, but I did that last year, so maybe.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Where's the one in March?
Yeah. Gloucester. That's a run through. And Kieran's pacing that as well. He'd paced Warwick.
Okay, yeah.
And we'll talk about Warwick when we get onto it. But I went out with Kieran for about 12 seconds, and then I thought better of it. I think I could completely derail my own race today if I think
that was a sensible decision, especially with the course on Sunday.
And if you go out with a pacer, they're going out a minute faster anyway, aren't they? They're going out at 128 pace, 129 low, maybe pace. So it's even faster than the fastness that you were expecting to run. So those, what would a sub 3 be? 652s will be more like 640s. And for me, those 415 Ks will be more like 405, 408. You think, well, that's getting towards 10K territory here. I could spectacularly blow up. So I'm glad I didn't go out with him. I didn't go. I think it was probably quite a good decision. On another day, I would. So maybe in March, because Kieran's got the sub 90 vest again. So potential.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to be that guy as well. Sub 3 pace is 6:51 a mile. Not 6:52. If you run 6:52, you'll run over 3 hours. So I'm only going to be that guy because I got called out as well this week for my logistics. I said 4 minute Ks was 6:27 a mile, which it more or less is, but it's closer to 6:26 a mile. So I keep on saying 6:27 a mile, but it's actually 6:26 a mile for 4 minute Ks.
People like to be correct, don't they? They like the right information.
I'm all about it, though. I'm all about being accurate and on the nose, because those seconds per mile can really make a difference in your race.
Well, I got this guy that kept commenting on my YouTube, like for Valencia. Every time I do a track session, I'd say, right, I've done this lap at this pace. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm like, what? He'd be like, no, it's not. He said, if you're running this pace, then by the laws of physics, it's this pace. I'm like, yeah, fine. It's fine. I don't mind. It's 2 seconds different. He's like, no, I don't know if you're listening. That's probably what's going on in his head. It's this pace. It's because I don't want to be giving people misinformation. But the problem is when I'm running around the track, I'm looking at my Garmin and it's telling me a different pace every lap because I don't really know how to pace a 90-second lap other than run, I think it's 347s, okay? Something like that. I don't know. But 347 in lane 2 or halfway at the outside of lane 1 is different to the inside of lane 1, isn't it? Because you've run a meter or two further.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Do you not work off seconds when you're doing laps of the track? Do you work off your pace on your watch then?
Well, I'm still not good enough to know.
Of course you are. You know
like how to pace an 800-meter rep. Like I know I could do a 3-minute 800, but
to do a 90-second lap, you just need to make sure you go through 200 in 45 seconds.
Yeah, but
so if you use the seconds, you can sort of pitch it as you go through each 100 meters or every 200 meters, and see if you're on pace. That's how I tend to do it. Is I set my 400 pace and I run, and when I hit 200, check what time I'm on, and double it, and that's the pace that I'm running. So I know whether I can ease off a bit or whether I need to push forward a bit more.
So this is my inexperience on the track because I don't do that. I don't look at the elapsed seconds, I look at the average pace, which is quite often wrong.
Yeah.
Because when you go from 0 to faster than 5K pace, your watch takes 10 seconds to know what day it is, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, it's constantly giving you different things. And by the time you've done that first bend, not saying I've done that first bend in 10 seconds, but by the time you've done that first bend, your watch is telling you like you're running slower than you are. You think, no, surely not, really? Or something like that. And so
especially,
maybe I do need to.
Yeah, especially if you haven't got a track setting on your watch as well. If you've got track mode, it's a bit more accurate. But
right,
yeah, if you haven't got a track mode on your watch, it's all over the place, and it will say you've done a completely different distance and completely different pace to what you're actually doing.
Yeah, I mean, what have I got? The Garmin 945. I never remember what model I've got. It says on the back. Yeah, I've got the 945, the Forerunner 945. There probably is a track mode on there, but I've never done it. All I do is just have the same watch face as my training sessions, and I just hit that lap button, every time it's needed. And and that's just how I've been doing it. And maybe that does need to change to get a bit more accurate. But at the moment, I tell you what I am doing is I'm doing a lot of my track stuff by effort, which probably isn't the best measure of speed and distance and time, because by 7:45, I'm a little bit more fatigued than I was at 7:05. But I'm finding that when you're doing a 400 rep, sometimes I don't even have time to look at my watch, or I don't want to waste valuable energy looking at my watch. I sort of just know where the effort feels, if you know what I mean. And I know that, if I'm 1 or 2 seconds, or as long as I'm not 5 seconds or more slower or faster, then I know I'm within that almost sweet spot, really. So I must come across like a real noob to a lot of people, especially that guy who was having a go at me about the track, the timing.
Yeah,
but like if I said I'd do it at 4 minute, if I said I did an 800 meter thing at 4 minutes a K, but I did it in 3 minutes 10, he'd be like, no, that's impossible, because 800 meters would make you 320 because the actual 200 meters would be 40 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you can't really go off average pace for the track, can you? The only thing that matters is elapsed time, really.
Yes, exactly. But that's what's great about the Coros watch that I've got, because it's got a specific track mode, and when you go into the track mode, it asks you what lane you're running in, so it will actually work out the distance of each lane. So you could do your session in lane 8, and it will know that you've done the extra meters on each lap. And it's it's really good. But
that's pretty good.
I tend to just have seconds as my marker when I'm running around the track. So I have a different watch face to what I do on a normal run. I've set up my watch so what I see on the screen is different when I'm running on the track, or different when I'm running reps on the road, to what it is when I'm just going out for a normal run.
Right. So you've got different training faces for the different styles of training.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I must say I find track very interesting, very fun, but also very sometimes disheartening, because it's so bloody hard. And it's like when you're trying to really push, and like this session I did on Wednesday was tough, which I'm sure we'll get into in a bit. But it's like, to be consistent on the track really requires your A game, I think, doesn't it? To have a really solid track session. If you're coming into it, like, maybe I shouldn't have done it, because 3 days before it, I just run a PB at Warwick. Maybe I shouldn't have done a hard track session, but I did.
No. Yeah.
So no wonder I was struggling. Not struggling, but finding it harder than I should have been.
Yeah.
and the conditions were bad. It was a bit icy on the track. I don't know if you ran around the track this week, but it was like it's quite slippy on some of those cold nights.
Yeah, I'd like to add distance on after the sessions this week. I've been doing a few laps of the track. It's like an ice rink. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that was making me work, I think, a little bit harder because I just felt like around one certain corner, I actually think it got worse once the track had been run on from the club. I think as the evening progressed, I think it actually got slippier. And so I was finding that my heels were just, my feet were just flying behind me like they weren't attached to my legs. And I felt like I was really I was trying to stride, but I was overstriding, I think, because of the ice, and I couldn't really get much purchase on the track. I mean, we're talking splitting hairs really, but I did feel extra effort was required and concentration as well.
Yeah.
So I think you can look at track and think, well, that sounds boring, just running around in circles for an hour. But there's a lot that goes into it, isn't there? It's a real skill. I know I've only been doing it since June or probably July, August, and I'm still nowhere near anywhere working it out. So there's a lot to it, isn't there? There is a lot to it, rather than just running around in circles.
Yeah. But I think you saying you run to effort is probably a good thing, because when you start getting used to the track, you can set off and you go, right, I'm going to run this lap in 90 seconds. And when you've set off within the first 50 meters, if you're running at the right sort of pace and the right sort of effort to run that 90 seconds. And it's good to get into that sort of mindset and have that feel about pacing, because then that helps you in all of your races and your sessions that aren't on the track. So knowing that effort level that goes into certain paces and certain speeds, and it's completely accurate because it's on the track, which is exactly 400 meters, what it feels like at different efforts.
So I'm getting better of it, but I still do use my pacing as gospel, which I probably shouldn't. But I don't know the track and the track conversions well enough to do it any other way, if you know what I mean. So if my watch is telling me I'm running 5K pace, I'll just believe it. I might be running slightly faster or slower than it in reality, because I've run 10 meters further, or I've run round someone in lane 3 or whatever. But I'll believe it, because until I start track racing, I think that's probably an effort as well. That's all I use, really, just effort and my average pace. But like I say, it's not accurate, but
no,
it's accurate enough for me.
If you do want to start working in seconds for the laps, though, it's pretty easy to work out depending on the pace that you want to run, because you work in kilometers. So it's a bit harder with miles, because obviously a mile is 1609 meters. 1609. But a kilometer is 2.5 laps of the track. So if you take your kilometer pace that you want to run at, so say you want to run 4-minute Ks, you take 4 times 60 seconds and then divide it by 2.5, and you get your per 400 meter pace. So 4-minute Ks, so it's 60 seconds times 4 divided by 2.5, that gives you 96 seconds. So a 4-minute kilometer, you should be going around 400 meters in 69 seconds.
96.
I think. Sorry, 96. Yeah, not 69. 96.
Yeah. That sounds about right, actually, because my reps, I think I was doing the other day, were not far off that. But So, but no. To cut long story short, I do enjoy track, but it's once you sort of peel the layers back of track, it is a little bit more complex, isn't it? When you start, analyzing it and getting more from it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's
I love it, but it's brutal. and it can absolutely destroy you if you're not careful. It has injured a lot of people, the track, because it's completely different to running on the roads.
That reminds me, actually, I screenshotted something I wanted to bring up, and I forgot to mention this to you beforehand. Here we go. Right, so I don't know how this came up on my Instagram, but a reel came up, and it was Paula Radcliffe's, apparently, you might have seen this week, favorite session on the track.
Yes,
it's called it's called a Bondarenko track session, and it is. I presume there's no recoveries here because nothing is. Oh no, there are a couple of recoveries. Oh, here we go. The recoveries are at marathon pace. So, it's 400 at 5K pace, 400 recovery marathon pace, 300 at 1500 meter pace, 300 meter recovery at marathon pace, 200 at 800 meter pace, 200 meters at marathon pace, 100 meter sprint, and then a recovery at marathon pace times 4. So your recoveries are are faster than your steady miles. That is intense.
Yeah, it's a bit like the session we did the other week where we did 45 minutes and we alternated between marathon pace and 10K pace. So your marathon pace became your recoveries or your floats.
So your body's getting used to settling for a recovery much faster than a normal recovery.
Yeah. So
the recovery you're giving your body is
it ends up being a float lap rather than like a recovery lap. Yeah. Because one of the sessions that we'll do soon on the track at some point, Andy, our coach, calls the Paula Radcliffe session, and it's 200 meters session. So it's 200 meters, and then your recovery is 200 meters, but your recovery is double the time that you ran the 200 effort in. So say you run the 200 meters in 40 seconds, you then get 80 seconds recovery for the next 200, and then you just keep on repeating that.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds absolutely brutal. But that's where you can make some serious aerobic gains, I guess, by almost denying your body of a proper recovery, I guess.
Yeah.
Your recovery is when you finish.
Yeah.
It's your 400, your 1200 round the track afterwards or whatever. Yeah.
But I suppose it's like when you do your Sunday long run sessions and you do so many miles or whatever your effort is at marathon pace, and then you go back to a float, but your float is never a recovery pace, and it's not really a steady pace either. It's in between steady and marathon pace. So you're still pushing that pace on, even though you're having a float mile or a float kilometer. It's the float is a faster pace. It's not a recovery.
It's above steady and above easy.
Yeah.
But not quite as quick as marathon pace.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I'm trying to work out what my floats will be now. So last year when I was training for 640 a mile, my floats I was looking at around 705 to 710 a mile. And I would say that last year my steady pace was 730 a mile, and my easy pace was 8 minutes a mile. So it's a bit faster than steady.
Yeah. That sounds absolutely brutal. So
you've got that to
I bet you're looking forward to that one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, good. Shall we start by we said at the end of last episode we were going to start with the emails that we couldn't read out because we ran out of time last week.
Well, before we go into the emails, I was just going to say that we got onto the running chat a little bit quick this week.
Forget that.
It's very odd for us. We normally waffle for a while, and we had a comment that called us out. on that, didn't we? Last week.
Absolutely brilliant. We've lost it. We've lost a listener.
I never look at comments on the audio version of the pod. So like on Spotify and Apple Music, apparently you can leave comments on the episodes, which I didn't even realise. So I've never looked at them. But
God knows how
we got our attention pointed towards one on Spotify, didn't we? From last week's pod. I'm just going to see if I can find it. Where is it?
One particular topic didn't go down too well.
No.
With one of our listeners.
Right, let's have a look. So we got a comment, and it said, "Well, this is the bit that was a bit confusing at the start. Sorry, lads, I followed. I think he meant unfollowed, but
right.
He wrote I followed. So sorry, lads, unfollowed.
Cheers, mate.
Waffling in about aliens to make up the time isn't the one. More work required. Lots of running podcasts, and you need to be standing out these days. Good luck with it all."
I think we do stand out by talking about aliens. How many running podcasts talk about aliens?
It's brilliant. And what my favourite part about that is, though, he said waffling in about aliens to make up the time isn't the one. Make up the time? Does he realise the pod's over 2 hours long?
We're not
trying to make up time. Yeah, we're trying to make them shorter, but we just get lost. Oh man. Well, anyway, hilarious.
Should we reveal? Who was it? Should we reveal their identity, or should we keep it a secret?
It was someone called Jamie Ives. So thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, cheers, Jamie. Yeah,
your input is is great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your feedback.
But thanks for it.
So, Brett, what do you think about aliens? Let's continue the conversation. Tommy D said he was listening on the train, and he said he absolutely loved the Gail Platt bit. He was just laughing out loud. He said on the train, I think he said. So
brilliant, good,
funny stuff.
See, people appreciate it.
Yeah,
they appreciate the waffle as well as talking about running. Life's not only about running, is it? Come on, it'd be a boring podcast if all we talked about was running.
Be honest, how many of you, when I've been talking about the track for the last half an hour, have considered turning this off because we're not talking enough about Gail Platt? How many of you? I bet you there's at least one of you thought, boring running chat. So
anyway, shall we get into the emails?
I think we do stand out, Jamie. So yeah. Right, so we've got two emails to read out. So that should take about half an hour each, knowing us. Okay, so the first one is from Mitch Cad. And he starts by saying, "Gents, love the podcast and videos. What are your opinions on aliens?" He doesn't say that. Whether on a long run or chilling, recovering after a run, I always find you guys entertaining, encouraging, and above all, have a relaxed approach to running. See, Jamie, listen to this. Listen to what Mitch is saying. Mitch knows what he's talking about. He knows a good podcast that stands out and he hears one. Yeah, Jamie, why don't you go and listen to some vanilla podcast about running? That's definitely not this. Right, sorry, I'm getting carried away. Right. I'm in my 50s. I have been running now since lockdown, and I absolutely love getting out and about for 5 to 10K, 3 to 4 times a week, plus a parkrun at the weekend. Last year, 2024, I should have taken part in my first marathon, Manchester. However, I got too greedy during training, jumping from 14K to a 21K long run in 1 week. And of course, I inverted commas, broke and had to rest for 12 weeks with a hip muscle injury. Later on in the year, and after a red wine evening, Mitch, you sound like a man after our own heart here, I found I'd entered the ballot for London 2025 and somehow I got a place. Training is going well I'm much more sensible this year. However, I'm struggling to decide / pick the right shoe for the race. And I wondered if I could get your opinions, please. Bear in mind, he sent this on the 17th of Jan. So sorry, mate, it's a month ago. Sorry, he's probably already bought about 4 pairs by now. Training is going well. I've already read that. I'm 6'3" and 15 stone, so not the lightest runner. And I'm paranoid at getting a shoe that isn't right. I already own far too many shoes, but spend most of the time in the Puma Magmax long runs and Saucony Speed 3s. I presume he means the Endorphin Speed 3s, not the Pro. Oh, no, because he'd be like the Speed, not the Pro. Sorry, ignore that. The Saucony Speed 3s for shorter, quicker stuff. I've seen a few suggestions that the Adidas Pro 4 is an option due to the change in foam. Any idea and thoughts are welcome. Love the show, Mitch. Cheers, mate. That was a great email. Thanks very much, mate. Firstly, fair play for getting back on the horse after a massive setback from Manchester. That must have been horrible to have gotten injured from what you thought. You know, you just went out for a run. So yeah, very heartbreaking to hear that kind of ended your Manchester Marathon before it already begun.
It's so easily done as well. You going and doing a little bit too much too soon. It's so easy to do because you just get the thirst for running and you just want to go and do more of it. You go and do more of it and then you get broke.
Yeah. I remember when I first got to a half marathon. Here you go. Have I showed you my cup before on the podcast? This is a cup Law made up for me. Yeah, my first ever half marathon I did, and I got to 13.1 miles back in there when I used to work in miles. Pace 10:22 a mile. When I was a lad, 13.1 miles, 10:22 a mile. That was my average pace, and I remember that I got to 10. I built up to 10 miles. And thought, I don't think I can ever get above this. And then went and did that half marathon and did it. But I think I gradually got to 10 miles rather than just went from, say, half the distance to then the half marathon. Because it's so tempting, like you said, isn't it? To just think, oh, I feel all right. What's another 7K? What's another 4 or 5 miles? But it's getting your body used to those distances, I guess, isn't it? Time and time again.
Yeah. And getting your body used to the impact from running, because there's something like, what is it? Is it something like 4 or 5 times your body weight is the impact that goes through each leg on every step whilst you're running?
Wow, I never even heard that. God.
Yeah. So basically, pounding the streets is pounding your body. So if your body hasn't built up the resilience to that pounding, it's going to break really easy. The old adage was only increase your mileage by 5% per week. No, sorry, 10% per week. So say you'd done 50 miles one week, the next week you should really only do 55 total. Yeah, so just, or if you're on a much lower amount, so say you've done 20 miles, you should only add 2 miles on and do 22 miles the next week. But that's per week.
And I get, and you shouldn't, we don't like to say you should and shouldn't do this on this podcast, because what you know, I'm speaking for myself here, but what do I know? But if you've got to do that, don't throw your extra 5 miles into your Sunday long run. Don't make your 15-mile run a 20-mile long run, because if you can spread those 5 miles out across the week, that's the better way to do it, isn't it? Yeah. Eventually, you want that Sunday long run or that weekend long run to be, you know, the pinnacle of your week in terms of your percentage of your weekly mileage. But yeah, it's one of those things where I bet you wish you had the hindsight. Hindsight's wonderful, isn't it? Because I'm sure Mitch is thinking, why did I do that? Like he said, why did I get too greedy? But we've all done it. We all do it. We still do it. I still do it. You know, you think something's going to be okay because it feels all right today, and we all take a gamble, and sometimes it doesn't pay off. So I hope that injury is a thing of the past, Mitch, and I hope that you drowned your sorrows in many a red wine evening. And what a way to get over a marathon than to get into a new one. So got in the ballot to London.
Amazing.
So absolutely amazing. So if that's not written in the stars for you to have a good race, then I don't know what is. So I hope training's going well for you, Mitch. But yeah, in terms of your shoe choice, you've probably already bought a pair by now. So please drop us an email or a DM or let us know somehow what shoes you went for. But
does it say in the email what sort of pace he's going to be going for or what sort of time?
No, and I also don't know if he's asking for a shoe for race day or for training in. Or maybe he wants one that is like a do-it-all shoe. But no, he hasn't really mentioned that. But no, he said he's spending most of his time in the Puma Mag Max and Saucony Speed 3s.
Yeah. Because I would say if you're running under 4 hours, then probably you could get away with a carbon-plated shoe and you'd be fine. But any more than 4 hours, I'm not sure I'd want to spend more than 4 hours in a carbon-plated shoe. It would be the most uncomfortable run ever to spend more than 4 hours in a carbon shoe. So
they call it diminishing returns, don't they? So after a point of a period of time, you just start to, I guess, hurt yourself.
Not really. Yeah, they're not hugely comfortable carbon shoes, but they're not designed to be comfortable. They're designed to be fast. So that carbon, that stiffness within the shoe is there to propel you forward and make you faster. So they're not a comfortable shoe to wear. So I'd say if it was a longer race, you'd want to go for something more comfortable. So it might be you race the marathon if you are over 4 hours in the Puma Mag Max or in a what's the Brooks one, the Ghost Max or something like that. So something with a lot of cushioning that you can go for a long period of time wearing and feel comfortable.
Yeah, I once got a what was my injury? Was it my ankle or was it my knee? I can't remember. And back in the day, I read, this is terrible advice, but it worked. The best way to get over an injury is to buy a pair of new shoes. So, I think I might have been reading. I think I might have been listening to this podcast, and someone said I went and bought some Brooks. I'd been wearing this sort of shoe. I remember what I was wearing. It was Clifton 6s, but my problem was sizing. I'd sized myself wrong, and I'd essentially injured myself. And I think I'd given myself a little bit of plantar fasciitis. So my foot, the arch of my foot, I think it was the arch or the it was either that side or it was my little toe bone that goes from little toe to heel. I think it's the outside of my foot. Was so painful one run. I had to stop and get Laura to come and pick me up because I literally couldn't even walk. Then I had a month off running and I bought in the meantime some Brooks Adrenaline. I think they were in 20s or something like that. And they seemed to cure me. I took it very easy for the next, I don't know, month or so. I mean, this is before I'd even done any races, but those things were so good. So I don't even know if they still make Brooks Adrenalines, do they? Do you know the Brooks Adrenaline range?
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah.
So they were a really good option. The Brooks Adrenaline, I mean, what would probably be? I think they go by years. It's probably on the 24 or 25 now. But they were a really good option. And Brooks across the board seemed to offer some really good alternatives to a lot of other brands. Mainly they're famed for their cushions. They're cushioning, really, aren't they? So is it the Hyperion that gets
that's their race shoe, the Hyperion, or their fast training shoe. It's basically the equivalent to the Saucony Endorphin Speed or but
the Ghost they
do a Hyperion Max as well, which are the higher stack one. But I've heard some really good reviews of the Ghost Max, the Brooks Ghost Max. People have said they are really good as a long run shoe. So yeah, I would possibly go for something like non-plated, if it depending on pace and what sort of time you're aiming for. If you are aiming for sub 4, then yeah, go for a faster shoe. But again, the other thing is, as a heavier runner, as you say, softer foam might not be the right choice either, because softer foam, you're going to bottom out and completely compress, and it will feel like you're hitting the floor constantly. So a more resilient foam may be better than a softer foam for a heavier runner or a taller runner. It's a really difficult one to get right, and I think you've got to try out different shoes to really find out what works for you. But the problem with that is shoes are so expensive now. You can't really try things out, because if they don't work, you've got a really expensive doorstop.
What you should do, Mitch, go and get a pair of Alpha Fly 3, Vaporfly 3, Pro 4s, just spend about £1,000 on super shoes and realize that you hate them all. I think as well, a danger you could fall into is if you say, and this is what I did at Brighton, if you save a shoe till race day that you've bought and you can't wait to wear it, you've wore it once around Parkrun and you flew round, you stick that on race day, you've got even more adrenaline, even more reason, maybe you've tapered as well, so you feel even fresher. You sometimes forget that it's a marathon you're running and not a 10K or a half marathon. So you've also got to remember not that you need a shoe that will get you round to do the whole job and not, just the first hour, because you could go off too quick because you feel so good. So yeah, I mean, that's where tactics come into play, really. But yeah, Brett's right. You've just got to take a gamble, do your research.
Yeah. I would say for the heavier runner, the Adidas Pro 3 is probably better than the Pro 4, because the Lightstroke Pro formula is more resilient in the 3, and it is more it's not as soft, so you probably won't bottom that out. I would say don't go anywhere near Zoom X and all the Nike racing, because that is super soft. That's ridiculously soft, isn't it?
It's a hot potato, but I mean, the Puma offers some good options. The ones I've got are really good. The what do you call them? The Nitro, what are they called? Not Deviate Nitro, the Nitro Velocity Nitro 3s.
Oh yeah,
they're nice. They're good shoes. They Asics do a good option with the Nova Blasts.
Well, they're
Super Blast. Yeah.
Well, if you can find them in stock anywhere. And apparently, I've heard a lot of people say the Evo SL, the Adidas, is Adidas's version of, equivalent of the Super Blast. So they're good options as well for longer running and being comfortable. But again, not plated.
And another thing you could do, Mitch, if you've not already done this, you could go to a running shoe shop specialist, and you could get your gait analyzed, and you can see where you can see, they'll get you on a treadmill, and that they'll tell you how you land.
What I will say about that, though, is make sure it's one where you've got a specialist doing your gait analysis, and not the Saturday job kid doing your gait analysis, because that happens at a lot of running stores. Is they say they do gait analysis, and it's just a kid who doesn't really know what he's doing, who's been told to look at the laptop and look at certain things and tell people they should be doing this. Make sure who you go for gait analysis is a specialist and knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, good option. So speak to other runners. Speak to, I don't know if you're in a club, but maybe look at runners who are aiming for a similar time that you are, or just try and and maybe anyone on this podcast might be able to help. Maybe in the comments, drop down some alternatives or some options.
That would be good.
know anything that we haven't said. So yeah, really, really good email. Cheers, Mitch, and all the very best.
On the topic of race shoes,
I was going to ask you about this.
Yeah, I have taken delivery of my London shoe, and I have gone for.
Oh man,
the Tokyo colorway of the Pro 4s.
Can you give us some? What's that word when you put it right up against the microphone?
Oh, ASMR.
ASMR, yeah. Can you like stroke? Can you like stroke the foam and stuff? It's purring.
Is that all right?
Yeah, very nice. They look great. So if you're listening to this, Brett, describe them. If you're listening to this and not watching this.
So they're the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro 4, but they are in the Tokyo colorway, which is banana yellow with blue stripes. I would say navy blue stripes, and then bright, orangey red accents here and there. And then on the bit on the back where it's on the release colorway, the white and red ones, it said "This too shall pass," didn't it? On underneath the little flap at the back. On these ones, it says "Runner on board."
Wicked.
So because they're the Tokyo racing shoe. So
did you get to the bottom of the numbers that are on the shoe?
I haven't yet. No. So I'm guessing the 25 on the right foot is for 2025, but the 7, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, interesting.
But yeah, I love them. I tried them on the other day. I haven't run in them yet, but the foam and the squish compared to the Pro 3 is crazy.
They look amazing.
Very, very different.
You should do you should do the Stockholm Marathon wearing them. You look so Swedish.
Yeah, like I'm going to IKEA.
Yeah, they look amazing. They do look good.
Well, they've got a number on, but they also say racing on the midsole as well. Nice. So,
can you give us a squid? Can you give us a squeeze of the foam up close to the camera?
Oh, hang on. So I don't know if you can see.
Oh, is that squidgy or firm? That looks quite squidgy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's very squidgy, very, very soft.
But the plate, and is it obviously there's a plate in there.
But it's the rods.
Oh, it's the rods. So there's no plate.
Carbon rods. Yeah, it's their equivalent of the plate, isn't it? It's carbon rods.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am looking forward to trying those out at some point. They'll probably stay in the box for the next couple of months and come out the box for my 20 miler whenever I do that as my longest run. And then race day, they'll go on the feet.
Nice. So have you got your other purchase with you as well?
I have, yes. I have got So when these came out, I thought I would like a pair of these, but then I saw this colorway and I was like, I'm going to wait until this colorway comes out. And these are the same series of colorways. So they're the Tokyo edition again, but it's the Adios 9. So it's the lower stack racing shoe for like 5 to 10K. But what I'm going to use it for is for track workouts and shorter session workouts. And these ones I can introduce with ka-chow. And it's like Lightning. They're like Lightning McQueen from Cars.
Cool. They're just the same color. Are they like sort of scarlet red? They like bright. They're almost a bit pink. I can't tell.
They're slightly orangey, pinky red. Yeah. They are super, super bright. You said the other day, didn't you? They're the reddest things you've ever seen.
Yeah, they did in a photo. They look like bright red.
They're really bright red, but then they've got yellow accents and the royal blue accents as well. But they've got silver stripes, and then the number on the back again.
do they say racing on them?
They do.
So what do Adidas design them for?
So the Adios 9 or
Not a
just the
marathon
colourway?
shoe. They're not a
No,
10K
no.
shoe, or like
They're,
why
they're,
did they put racing on it?
they've marketed these as for up to half marathon.
Okay.
So they've got the same stack height more or less as Takumi Sen's.
Okay.
But they haven't got any rods. So they're plateless shoes, but with Light Strike Pro soles. So the midsole is complete Light Strike Pro, same as the Takumi Sen's, but without the glass fiber rods that are in the Takumi Sen's. There's no rods in this. There's just a little shank in there for a bit of stability.
Nice. Right. So so did you say that they'll be getting a lot of track?
Yes.
Action?
So I'm going to, so for all my track sessions last year, when I wasn't wearing spikes, when I was just wearing flats on the track, I'm not a massive fan of wearing high stack shoes on the track. They feel a bit too unstable when you're going around the bend. So I like lower stack shoes. So last year I used the Adios 8s, which were very different to those. They had half Light Strike Pro and half normal Light Strike. But they're basically the new version. So I'm going to be using those this year.
Cool. Exciting. Lovely stuff. Would you ever race in them over the Takumis? Well, you have to see how you get on in them.
I'm going to have to see how they feel, or underfoot. But I don't know if they'll have the same snap as the Takumis because they haven't got the rods. But they might feel really comfortable. So we'll see. We'll see what they're like. But I'm looking forward to getting both of them on feet.
Yeah, I bet you are. That sounds. You can't beat new shoe day and double new shoe day as well. Did they both arrive same day?
No, a couple of days apart. But yeah, I'd been saving for a long time and just storing the money away. So as soon as those colorways finally dropped, I could get them. Yeah.
I must say your yellow Pro 4s, I think, are the most visually pleasing out of the ones they've released.
Yes.
I wouldn't. I just think maybe Adidas are going for a less is more 2025, aren't they? With their SLs and everything. Like there's less of stuff to choose from. There's only 4 colorways, I think, isn't there, in the Pro 4s? Something like that?
No, there's 6 different colorways now. Yeah, so there was the release colorway, which was white with the red accents. Then they released what Mom called the Megatrons, which are the silver with the red stripes. Yeah. And then the latest drop is the yellow ones that I've just bought. There's a fluorescent yellow with black stripes.
Lucid lemon, something like that.
Yes. There's a black pair, which have got a white midsole, but black stripes that go onto the midsole, and they look a bit odd. And then there's a completely white pair as well. So everything's white. Yeah.
Interesting. But those SLs, I've been looking as well. Not as much as you have, because I know you're probably desperate to get a pair. But the Evo SLs are just never in stock anywhere, are they?
And when you do see them in stock, they're out of stock in about an hour. So,
So if you get the email come in your inbox, you've got to be ready to go, haven't you?
Yeah.
Can we move on to the next email?
Yes.
Which is from
D.
Cook Reese. And where are we now? 1 hour 7. And we said we were going to do this at the start of the podcast. So what did you expect, guys? Hi, Brett and Andy. Happy New Year.
It's only February.
Hope you haven't. I thought, Happy New Year, and I hope that you're both having a good break. So this is how long ago she wrote the email. So sorry that it's taken us this long to get back to you. As I keep hearing my name among the top ladies in the Strava segment most weeks. What a flex there, D. What a flex. Oh, God, me again. I've won again. Typical me. What am I like?
Highest mileage this week. That was me. Yep.
Soz, guys. Soz. I'm just too bloody good. I thought that I'd tell you about what I've been training for. Following a couple of marathons last year, Manchester and Yorkshire, I spent the first part of the winter training for the Dopey Challenge at Disney World in Florida.
Oh, yes.
5K, 10K, half marathon, and the full marathon on 4 consecutive days. This process had me swearing never to book a January marathon ever again. Christmas in particular threw a big wrench in the training plan. But when I got there, it was so worth it. I have never had so much fun and been so exhausted at the same time. It was my second slowest marathon ever, but times don't matter at Disney.
No.
Next up is the 34-mile ultra in March. And after that, I'll be more than ready to take a bit of a break from the longer distances, even though I'm not looking forward to the FOMO during spring marathon season this year. It won't be too long a break, though, as I've booked Amsterdam Marathon for October. Look forward to hearing all about all of your running adventures this year, D. Nice one, D.
Yeah, cheers, D. Sorry, I'm just going to have to go back to the way you said Amsterdam then. And instantly, gold member just popped into my head. A schmuck and a pancake?
Oh, what's some of his key lines that he says? I haven't seen this since 2004. Gold member. What's his thing that he always says? Oh, I'll have to reacquaint myself with the film. But yeah, well, isn't it Beyonce in that? Yes,
she is. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good film. But yeah, Amsterdam, great marathon. Absolutely awesome marathon. So yeah, best of luck for training for that over the summer.
Yes.
But 34-mile ultra.
I know.
In March.
Sounds crazy. So how many? So obviously I know what 34 mile is. What's that in K? What's that, about 55K?
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Yeah, 58, 57. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's pretty hefty in March
Crazy.
As well. So it could be a cold one as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sounds pretty good fun. So I'd love to know which one that is. Is that? I wonder if is that in the northeast? Because I know Kaylee from those two runners is doing an ultra, and I'm sure hers was 34 mile as well. And she actually corrected me as well the other day. She said, "Chris isn't doing it, so he can't hold my bags. It's just me on my Todd." So Kaylee, good luck to you for being out there on your own. I'm sure you'll smash it. But yeah, the Dopey Challenge. I mean, we've talked about this a week or two ago, but that's right up your street, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on bucket list, I think. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd love to do it.
I'm sure Dee could tell us that no wonder she's at the top of the list every week if she's running those 4 races consecutively.
I know, yeah.
But aren't they at silly o'clock as well? Aren't they at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. because of the weather?
The marathon starts really, really early in the morning, so you can get done before it gets stupid hot. Because when I went over there a couple of years ago, and I went and did Parkrun in Florida, Parkrun starts at 7:30 in the morning because it's already ridiculously hot at 7:30. I think it was in the 20s when I was doing Parkrun. I think it was about 24, 25 degrees C at 7:30 in the morning. So if you're running the marathon, you wouldn't want that sort of temperatures, would you?
And Florida's pretty much tropical, isn't it? It's got that constant humidity.
Yeah.
Because when it rains over there, it pours, doesn't it? I remember when I was a kid going over to Florida, they're golf ball size raindrops, aren't they? They get some serious storms and tropical weather.
We got proper caught in a storm at Animal Kingdom, and we were like, okay, we'll give it a few minutes and we'll go to the car park, and we got absolutely drenched. So went and found some shelter, and it just carried on, and there was nothing we could do other than just walk out in it and get back to the car park. We were absolutely drenched,
sodden. But did you find that within 20 minutes you were dry again, as soon as the storm passed? Yeah. Probably not even that, because it's so warm over there, isn't it? Do you know my one memory of Florida? This is when I last went, right? What would you say is the worst thing you could possibly wear as a child in the early 90s, going to Florida, getting off the plane at Miami, where it's 99% humidity in August?
Oh, shell suit.
Correct. Oh, cheers, Mum. Mum put me in a shell suit, didn't she? Give me watered down cornflakes, and she gave me a shell suit to wear to Miami. Jesus. I just remember it going, it like stuck to me. I was like peeling this. That's one of my earliest memories, being 6 and peeling off a shell suit in Miami International.
Amazing.
So, yeah, but all I remember about Miami is how humid and hot it was over there. It was, crazy. But yeah, the race or the races, 5K, 10K half, and then a marathon. That must be awesome. That must be. So it must be an amazing buzz, because I imagine a lot of people are signed up for the whole Dopey Challenge as well.
Yeah. Well, as Dee said, it's the most enjoyment she's had whilst being the most tired she's ever been, which is exactly. I think that's exactly how you would feel after doing all 4 races.
I imagine like every time you're in the pain cave, you just see Goofy, or like you go to a water station and Woody from Toy Story gives you a gel or something like that. It must be absolutely crazy, but it must be good fun.
Yeah, because the marathon, I think, goes through all 4 parks in Florida,
Right.
Which, what an amazing concept to run through all 4 Disney parks.
Yeah, I think people are cottoning on. I mean, I don't know how old the races are at Disney, but people are cottoning on now how much runners love running through places. And now, like Alton Towers, and now Drayton Manor's got one, and I think Thorpe Park, and there's a park run through a prison, for example. But I think it's mainly for the inmates. But you can do it. I wish I could remember the name of it. You have to apply to it. You have to email ahead. And you have to, obviously, you can't film, you can't have your phone, you can't have anything but your running kit with you when you do it. And I think it's just laps of the yard. I think that's how they do it. But apparently it's an amazing experience. And I think you run with a couple of the inmates as well. But yeah, it's surreal by the sounds of things. I wish I could remember whereabouts it is. Is it in the Lake District maybe? I think it's up that way, Cumbria maybe. But what an insane, crazy parkrun that would be.
Yeah.
So that might be one that one of our listeners have done. Let us know if you've done it or you want to do it. But there is a video on YouTube about it. If you type in prison parkrun or something, I'm sure it'll come up. But yeah, so that is all the emails we've got.
Yeah, thank you for that email, Dee, and congratulations on the Dopey Challenge. And fingers crossed, everything goes well for your ultra. And say Amsterdam again.
Amsterdam. So anything to stay top of the leaderboard, AD?
Yeah.
That's why she's doing the ultra. So amazing stuff. So please, if you don't, if we forget to ask, let us know how the race goes in March. So it's only a month or 2 away. Well, not even that, about a month away now. So best of luck.
So next up, before we get into our training and races and stuff, just a couple of bits of running news, which I've seen come across my feed or heard on podcasts the last week. First off, just a random one that I saw, which I thought was quite interesting. So in 2026 for the Commonwealth Games, it's going to be in Glasgow in 2026. And they've decided that instead of running the 1,500 meters, everybody's going to be running the mile. So it's going to be a mile race rather than 1,500 meters. So rather than a metric mile, as they call it, it will be an actual mile race, which is an interesting choice.
So a metric mile is literally 4 laps of the track, 1,600.
No, they call the 1,500 the metric mile. I don't know why they call it the metric mile, but they do.
Okay, I didn't know that. Right.
But they're going to, instead of doing the 1,500, they're going to be running the mile. So that should be interesting.
On the track, though, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not a road mile. Okay.
No, yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Josh Kerr will fancy that, won't he?
Well, exactly. And with that in mind, this weekend is because indoor season has well and truly kicked off over the last couple of weeks. So there's been lots of indoor races. And the Milrose
Mills.
Games. Well, I'm going to come on to that in a second. But Milrose Games is this weekend, and the big race is the Wanamaker Mile. And we've got Josh Kerr running in that, but we've also got Yared Nagus running, who is super quick. He came third at the 1500 meters in Paris. We've also got Hobbs Kessler running, and Neil Gawley, our GB athlete. But another one of note who's running is Cam Myers. I don't know if you know who that is. He's only 18, and he, at last week's indoor meet, he broke the Australian 3,000 meter record. Yeah, he's now going in the Milrose Game mile to try and break the Australian mile record, but he's only 18.
Amazing.
He's super quick. But yeah, the other one that we should probably talk about is George Mills is now the British record holder for the 3,000 meters indoor. He took the title off Josh Kerr, and Josh Kerr, his record previously was 7:30.14, and George Mills knocked just under 3 seconds off that, 2.5 seconds. So he ran a 7:27.92, which is phenomenal indoors on a 200 meter track. It's 3,000 meters. And apparently he ran the final 1,000 meters, so final kilometer, which is 5 laps of that 200 meter track. He ran in 2:24.
That's just
and he ran
crazy
that final
fast.
K. He ran that final K on his own. He won by miles. I think he won by about 30 seconds. But he ran that final K on his own. He had a pacer for the first 1,500, I think it was. But that final kilometer on his own, no one else around him, and he ran a 2:24.
Yeah, amazing. I watched the race. I watched the race back on YouTube because there was a stream on YouTube, I guess. And I've watched the full 7-minute race, and it was thrilling. It was, especially when you can see where the lights are and you can see him start to move ahead of the blue lights. It's like, wow, this is come on. And he was the guy as well in the semi-final, the heats, that got tripped
in the 5,000 meters.
Is it the 5,000 by a French athlete, I think? And then he got. Did he get put into the final? There was that repechage he had to.
No, that with 5,000 meters, he got put into the final because he got tripped. But in the 1,500 meters, which he also qualified for at Paris, he had to run the repechage.
Yeah.
But
he seems like a good promising, and he's Danny Mills' son.
I was going to say,
Danny Mills.
His dad, Danny, will be happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching Danny Mills as a footballer. I remember him playing for, was it Man City? I think he played for. He was a battler. He was a proper brawler, and you wouldn't have wanted to get on the wrong side of him. And I think his stubbornness has translated through to George. Yeah, he's amazing athlete, isn't he?
Didn't Danny Mills play for England as well?
Yeah.
He's national, isn't he?
Yeah. I think he went to the 2002 World Cup. Yeah, in Japan and South Korea. Yeah, he's a hot prospect, isn't he?
Yeah,
George Mills. Yeah,
he is. But I think because he's always been a 1,500, 5,000 meter runner. But I think he's better at the longer distances, as you can see from 3,000 meters and the 5,000 meters. He's pretty good. He's a quick 1,500 meter runner. He wouldn't have qualified for the Olympics if he wasn't quick. But I think his strength is at the slightly longer stuff rather than the short stuff.
Does Jakob race the 3,000?
He will do.
Because I thought he only raced 5,000 and 1,500. I don't think I've ever. Have I seen him race 3,000? I don't know.
Is it? I think Jakob's got the. He's got the 2,000 meter record.
I didn't even know that was a race.
At the Diamond League.
I didn't even know 2,000 was an event.
Yeah, it's only run every now and then.
Right.
And like for special circumstances where someone wants to break the record and stuff like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah, well, what a run from George. That's epic.
Yeah. But I just thought they were things we should probably bring up this week. But let's get on to, you're on week 3. Is this week 3 for you? So how's
just finishing week 3?
Yeah. How was the end of week 2 and start of week 3 for you?
I shall go through. I've had a good week. So the mileage is still going up, which is good. I'm going for 85k this week, which is about 52 mile in it, something like that, 53 mile.
Cool.
And I'm feeling good, to be honest. I'm feeling all right. I'm still doing my double days on a Wednesday, but I'm running 6 days a week at the moment, which feels pretty good. So yeah, let me just go through from Saturday onwards. So Saturday, I decided to do Parkrun at Worcester Woods and did it nice and easily. Started at the back of the pack because I knew I had the race on Sunday. So I knew I had Warwick half marathon. So I thought, I'll just chill out and start at the back, and then I just did some strides towards the end. But what was nice, I started at the back and someone recognized Daisy and not me, I think, from YouTube. So met 2 lovely ladies called Rosie and Chloe, who we ran pretty much the whole thing with, and their dogs, Wilf and Toby, which was really good. And Daisy loved it. She was in her element. She was in a little pack of dogs. She was loving it. And then Sunday came. Shall we talk about the race after our training week?
Yeah.
So the race came and went, which was good. And then Monday, as we've both said, we both thought it'd be a good idea to not rest. So I did 10k on Monday, did 9.5k, relatively easy. It was a lovely sunny day, looking back at my pictures, and I just thought today's just too good a day not to run. And I remember just feeling that feeling of, I got a PB yesterday. I'm on a running high. I want to run. That's how I feel. So I went for a run and I absolutely loved it. So I ran home from Malvern, and that one was quite a hilly one. That was a 100 meter again, and I ran back and 10k in the bank. Day after, which was Tuesday, went for another 10k run. Again, same sort of pace, nice and chilled. Me and Daisy went out with in the sunset, did a nice little country lane run on one of my. I did the loop that me and you did 3 times. You know, my yeah. So that's 130 meters again. So that's not a flat route, which was good. And then Wednesday morning, went up the hills. I parked at a hill called the Sugarloaf Hill, by the Sugarloaf Cafe by Sugarloaf, and went up and round the Malverns and did an 8k or a 5 miler then. The good thing about that little particular loop is when you run up to the beacon, you do the first 2 mile or 1.5 miles uphill, and it's quite steep to get up to the beacon. But then it's downhill, it's rolling down, and then you get down to the road level and it's all flat, so you can sort of get the hills out of the way, and then you can sort of roll into some some steady pace if you want to, which is quite good. Then I went to track Wednesday. Session on track Wednesday night was 5 by 400, 60 seconds recovery, easy 400 times 3. So it was quite intense, really, especially on that third set, doing 400s at a fairly brisk pace. I decided to do the first set slightly slower, which I'm glad I did. But looking at my graph, they're not that much slower. So my laps were 135. Shall I say 95 to sound like a track runner? Yeah. Okay, 95, 95, 95, 98, 97. So I was quite pleased with that lot.
Nice.
The next set, 93, 91, 89, 86, 90. And then the last set, I did 93, 91, 92, and then 91. And then one more, was 86. So, really nice. Pleased. So that was a good track session. And it's funny how sometimes towards the end of the set, you feel like, especially in the cold weather anyway, you almost get the first set out the way. and you feel almost a bit better midway through the session. That's how I remember feeling.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, shall I quit while I'm ahead and just do 2 sets? I was like, nah, never. Let's get this set done. And then had the day off Thursday, and then that's just brought me to today, which was a lovely little long run with Daisy. We did it 17k, so it's just over 10 miles. Nice and easy. And then the last 2k just slightly picked it up, and I did sort of a marathon pace back up the hill to get home because I realised my dinner was nearly ready, I think. And yeah, we just cracked on and
Nice.
really enjoyed it. So yeah, that was my week really.
Good work.
Yeah.
So what are you on track for? Did you say about 52-ish mile?
I'm at 55k now, and I wanted 85, so I've got to find 30k. I've got to find 18 mile between now and Sunday. So what I'm going to do is probably I'm going to do Parkrun tomorrow, and then 25k. So about 14, 15 mile on Sunday.
Yeah.
So
nice.
yeah, looking forward to it.
Good. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So how about you?
Yeah, so I'm on week 4 now. So I finished off week 3. I went down to Parkrun at Ara Valley, just standard Parkrun for me, my local. But this was the first time during this block that I've had enough mileage left to actually run down there and run back. So jog down there. And on my way down, because I knew I had Warwick half on the Sunday, I wanted to take it a bit easier. So I decided to practice marathon pace for the first time this block. So I went out and said, right, I just need to run 20 minutes and that will be marathon pace. And I came in at 19:48 and it felt nice and comfortable, which was good.
Because you need to be hitting 20-minute 5Ks, don't you? Is that about right?
Yes.
For a 2:49? Yeah.
Yeah. So the marathon pace, Parkrun, and it felt pretty comfortable. So pleased with that.
That's absolutely crazy to me, by the way, that by the time I finished my Parkrun with you, I was basically like dying on the floor. And you have got to run that 8 times and a bit. So,
8.5 times, yeah.
Yeah. So crazy. Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
It's all right. To be honest, it feels a little bit crazy to me, but so that's what we're going for. Then on Sunday, when I did Warwick, which, as we say, we'll talk about in a minute. And then after Warwick on Sunday, so started week 4, and I started with a nice, easy 11 miles. But it was on it was on my usual route. I mean, I stopped a couple of times because if anybody tells you that you're not allowed to stop during a race, during a run, not during a race, obviously you don't want to stop during a race, but during a run, if people say you can't stop, then tell them to get lost. You can stop as many times as you like. So I stopped a few times to do a bit of filming and just enjoy the view a couple of times. But yeah, did 11 mile. Where are we? Average of 8 minutes a mile. So it was pretty good. Nice and easy. And there was 748 foot of elevation gain. So not too hilly, but not flat. So it was pretty good. So my grade adjusted pace was 7:43 a mile. So it pretty good. Then Tuesday went down to session with B&R, but my legs were still pretty battered from Sunday. So I decided that I wasn't going to do the session, but I wanted to go and run with them down there. So session was on the bus route, and their session was reducing 15s. So every effort is 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But after the first effort, you get 90 seconds recovery.
Yeah.
Then after the next 30 seconds effort, you get 60 seconds recovery. Then 45 seconds, then 30, then 15 seconds.
15 seconds recovery.
And then straight after that 15, you go back into the next set. So back into a 30-second effort, and then you get 90 seconds, 60. And that's 4 sets of that. So they did 2 sets out and 2 sets back down the bus route. So I decided that I was just going to go at a easy to steady pace out and back. And when I set off, when they finished their first set of 4, I was at like 1.3 mile. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go out 2.5 mile and then come back 2.5 mile. So I did a nice progressive, easy to steady. What did I do pace wise? So I ran an 8:02 first one, then a 7:52, a 7:52, a 7:37, and then a 7:10 for the 5th mile. So 2.5 mile out, 2.5 mile back. So yeah, pretty good. Felt okay to get the legs moving a little bit, but as I say, I didn't want to do the session because I would have just done myself a mischief. So I was being sensible, Brett, for once, which was nice. Thursday,
when you're doing these road sessions in the dead of night, in the bleak midwinter, as we've called it, what are you wearing? You got a head torch on, or is it road lit? Is it street lit, or is it?
There's street lights down the bus road. So it's not too bad. You can see what you're doing, but a lot of the group wear either chest or headlights, and I just wear an armband that's illuminated, so people can see you on the bus route.
So you can see where you're going because there are street lights.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And do you train with a partner, or do you almost always train on your own on B&R road sessions?
So you go at your own pace, but there's normally people who are around your pace. You've got a group to run with. Yeah. So you're never really on your own. So yeah, it's a group session. So you just go at your pace, but there's generally people at all paces. So there's always people together running. But yeah, on this one, I just went off for 2.5 mile and then come back. So I didn't really run with the group because whilst they were doing their recoveries, I just carried on up the road. But yeah, it was good. And then Thursday came, and I realised I needed to get a bit more mileage in. So I did a double day. So ran up to my shop and then ran back nice and easy. And then on the evening, went down to B&R session. But this week, there wasn't a session. It was just an easy run because of cross country on Saturday. So we did, I think we did about 7 mile easy with the group. So I ended up on Thursday running about 16 mile. So I am now currently, where am I so far? I'm on 41 mile for the week, and I want to finish on 65. Going to hopefully do about 16 mile on Sunday, which should then leave me with about 8 or 9 mile to do tomorrow. So obviously it'll be 10k the race. So I'll have a mile either side for warm up and warm down.
Nice.
So yeah, should be good.
Good. Where's cross country tomorrow?
It is over in Leamington. Yeah,
right. It looks like good cross country conditions tomorrow because
it's raining at this moment, so it's going to be nice and muddy tomorrow. Cold and muddy, but that's what cross country is all about.
Are you kicking off in the afternoon? Have you got time to go down and warm up at Parkrun, or is that a bad idea?
No, because I haven't got enough mileage. Number one, I'm not going to because I'll go over, and secondly, I've got some stuff to do in the morning. The race isn't till 2:30. But we'll try and get there at least an hour before the race. And so a couple of things to do in the morning and then get over there nice and early, ready to get ready for the race.
Nice. Well, I think I'm going to have a go tomorrow at a new Parkrun. I think I'm going to go over to one called East Park in Wolverhampton because I'm going up to see my sister tomorrow because it's my niece's birthday. And I just thought, well, en route, I might go to cheeky Parkrun.
Go over to Wolverhampton.
And I'm gonna try and get the old Takumi's out. Takumi
Oh, nice.
said.
Oh, are you going to go for trying to run your
Yeah,
20 again?
I haven't run 20 since I ran 20, and it's doing my head in. So I'm starting to question if I actually did run 20 minutes that day. So yeah, I'm going to try my best to run well, run strong tomorrow, whatever the weather. And yeah, I've no idea. I haven't done too much reading up about the course. There's two you can do, Wolves. You can do the West Park or East Park. West Park is a bit more like Pitchcroft, not like Pitchcroft, but it's more. It's a more popular one. So last week I think they had 400 or 500 runners, and I just thought East Park's like 100, so I thought I'll go and do that one. It's a bit quieter, and I'll have a go at that one. So
Nice.
yeah. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, we should probably talk about last Sunday, shouldn't we?
Yes. So Warwick half was on Sunday, and yeah, do you know what? I really enjoyed myself. I am really glad I put in that last minute entry and come over and joined you all.
It's a good race, isn't it?
It is. It's a challenging race, but really good.
It's, as half marathons go, it's got a bit of everything. I mean, you could argue that you might want a little bit more support on the course, but it's one of those races where it's like the opposite of the London Marathon, isn't it, in terms of support? It's like you're in some difficult sections for a long time without seeing anybody else.
Yeah.
Without seeing any support or anything like that. And it's just, I don't know, something about Warwick I just really enjoy. And I seem to either have a stinker or the race of my life there.
Yeah.
And last year I didn't have a very good time, but this year went a little bit differently for me as well.
It did, yeah. But I would say it's not quite as hilly as Droitwich. I'd say Droitwich is harder, but there's a fair amount of hills at Warwick. It's definitely not a flat race at all.
And that last 5K is beautiful, isn't it? All downhill.
Yeah, you had me again. You did the same as Western. You went the last 2 miles all downhill, hit mile 11, and it just went up. And I was like, what's going on here? And then ran past a sign that said Hampton on the hill. And I was like, yeah, right. Cheers, Andy.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you were like, I must have meant 2K. Must have
2K.
meant 2K. Got it wrong. Yeah. But the last mile and a half was lovely here. Yeah, really good.
Because that's all you've got to do. You've just got to survive those first 11 miles, 11 and a half miles. And the last little bit is all quite steeply as well, downhill. That is, you glide down that hill, don't you?
Yeah.
To finish.
It's good. It's good. It flattens out towards the race course, but by that time, you're at full pelt anyway, trying to make it to the finish without falling over.
Well, I've got my. Do you want to go first, or shall I? Because I was going
to say, before, do we want to shout out people before we go through our races, or do we want to do them afterwards?
Oh yeah, we can shout. We'll shout everyone else out first.
Yeah. Okay. So, it was a bit of a PB fest, weren't it, Warwick, this year, for a lot of people.
I don't know what was in the water that day, but a lot of people seem to do well on quite a difficult course. Yeah.
Conditions seem to be perfect for people to run fast. So there was quite a number of people who were either from BNR or local to me that I know really well that were running. So I'll just quickly go through these, and then you've got a few names as well that we need to mention. So from BNR, first off, Tom Richmond, who ran a blinder of a race, and he finished the race. And I said, "What did you run?" And he went, 1:21. And he was looking at his distance in kilometers. And he actually ran a 1:20.19. So he ran a whole minute faster than he thought he did across the finish line. Amazing. So Tom ran a great race. Yeah, 1:20.19 for Tom. Then Jordan, I think he PB'd as well. Jordan Adams ran 1:21.20.
Wow.
Kieran Brooks, I think this was a PB. I'm not sure, but he ran 1:21.35. Kieran came out with us for the first 5K and was running really strong, but I think the hills hit him slightly. But yeah, it's still a great time, 1:21.35. Will Noyce finally finished a race without peeling his soles off his feet. So he's been having a tough time with longer races. Every race he does in carbon plated shoes seem to disagree with his feet, and he gets really bad blisters. Or one of the races, his whole sole came off, the whole skin off his foot came off. So yeah, horrendous. But he managed to finish in a new PB of 1:22:53. So great running from Will. Richard Banks. He came in 1:24:30. He was hoping for anything under 1:25, so he was quite happy with that. Also from B&R, Paul West ran 1:19:06, which is a great run. I don't think that was quite a PB, and I think he's coming back from injury, so still a really, really good race. Who else have we got? Kyle Hart. He ran 1:32:28. So that was a great run. And then other local people, we had Richard Newby. He ran 1:26:34. He's one of the lads from Alfchurch. Ian Price ran 1:32:56. So yeah, really good running from Ian across them hills. Stephen Fenton. He ran 1:26:24, so another good run. And then Pete Vale, he ran 1:18:58, so great running from Pete. And Fraser Slade, he ran 1:18:36. Me, Fraser, and Pete and Paul all went out together, and yeah, everybody had a really good race. So I think that was a course PB for Fraser in 1:18:36. And then the only other people I've got written on my list are Kieran Deegan, who was the 1:30 pacer, and he came in 1:29:49, so perfect pacing from Kieran there. And the other one is Tim Stent, also known as, or AKA, Marm. And he came through with a PB as well, a 3-second PB. I think his previous PB was from Oxford, which is a pretty flat course. So to break his PB at Warwick was a great run, and he ran 1:23:07.
Well, that's because of the Megatrons, though, isn't it?
It was because of the Megatrons, definitely. Yeah, you could see him coming a mile off with them silver like shiners on his feet. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, amazing. Well done to all you guys.
There's from everybody.
There's a few more people to shout out. Staying on the pacing, did you mention Ryan? I don't think you did.
I didn't mention Ryan, no.
Ryan Baker from Rayleigh's Adventures paced the 1:50 and got in at 1:49:56. So amazing work as well.
Yeah, good pacing.
A massive fair play and a big shout to Chris Dorr, who finished the half in 2:16:35, who, just like Marm, beat his PB from Oxford. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah. It was a great run from Chris.
And he had some expert pacing from Sam Bauer, Marmite, Sam Marmite Bauer. We've got Mac Ashworth and Sam's brother Ben, who ran most of it, if not all of it, together. Mac did 1:37:06, which is a massive PB as well.
It is indeed.
Mac's on some good form at the moment. We love to see it. So well done, friend of the podcast, Mac.
Friend of the podcast, Mac.
And Ben did 1:36:36, or is that 1:30? I can't read my writing. So he did really well. I think he got a very similar result as what he did last year. We've got Donato. He got 1:43:06 because we saw Donato there as well. He's made a video about it as well.
Yeah.
I think I've got Marm here written down, but you've already done Marm.
Yeah.
I think.
Have you got Harry's time written down?
Oh, I haven't. No, I've got it.
So Harry Purwell, or Purewell, however you pronounce his surname, he ran a 1:15:50.
Amazing.
Bearing in mind, he was going for 1:17. And he said he would have been happy with 1:17:59. He just wanted to break 1:18.
Yeah.
And he ran a 1:15:50, which is crazy.
And he finished. I've got it here. He finished 18th.
Yeah, 18th overall. Yeah, it's a crazy run. So amazing work, Harry. Yeah, you surprised yourself, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, what a run! He's training for Edinburgh,
Yes.
He hasn't even started his training block by then as well.
No.
So the Monday after, Monday morning, he started his Edinburgh block.
Yeah.
So
him and Ryan have started their marathon blocks now. Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan's doing London, I think, isn't he?
Yes,
he's doing shorter amount of a block. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exciting. So on the subject of PBs,
yes.
Yeah,
baby.
we both snagged and smashed and grabbed a PB on Sunday.
Yeah, somehow.
For me, it was unexpected.
Yeah,
I don't know if you expected it or not, or felt it. No, but I'm just absolutely buzzing with it, because the year before for me just went horribly wrong, mainly because of some food choices I made the day before.
Yeah.
So it's funny how you learn lessons sometimes, and you have to make some, nearly poo yourself to realise, oh, maybe I shouldn't have that again for dinner the night before a big race.
Maybe I shouldn't have a loaf of bread the night before.
Maybe I shouldn't have the diet of a seagull. But so for me, I had my jacket potato on the Saturday night, and then I got to had some granola with some milk, some dairy milk, as you'll be pleased to know. None of this oat milk or almond nonsense.
Dairy milk, as in like Cadbury's.
Yeah, I just
whole bar of Cadbury's dairy milk.
Liquid dairy milk on my granola. It's fantastic. And yeah, it was just a good day at the office. I had a Voom bar on the start line, had a half a gel, which really helped me, I think. And I wanted my PB before we started was from Cardiff in October, and that was 1:33.17. So I knew that I needed to run 4:24s. And yeah, I'll just quickly reel off my 5K splits. So I needed to run, basically, I think my 5K splits I needed to run were about 21:55, something like that. I mean, that's a guess, I think, what it was. So first 5K, which is the easiest 5K all day, apart from the 5th kilometer, the 3rd mile, because it goes uphill then, doesn't it? Yeah. I did 21:47. The next 5K, 22:16, so slowed down a bit. Bear in mind the first half is harder, I think, than the second half.
Yeah.
The third 5K split, I did 22:04. And then the last 5K split, 15 to 20, I did 21:27. And then the last 2 kilometers, so 20 and 21 for me, I was doing 5K pace down that hill. I was doing 4:04. I did a 4:04 and a 4:05 for those 2Ks. Well, technically that's 10K pace, really. But it was blooming fast at the end of a half marathon.
Yeah.
And then I got over the line as quickly as I could. And listen to this. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this. I ran at 3:26 a K pace to finish off. But hopefully you can hear this. Let me turn up the volume. This does sound dodgier than it is, but this is what happened at the end. Can you hear that?
Nope.
Oh no. I'm connected to it, that's why. Well, that was an anticlimax. It's in my headphones. So yeah, that was a massively. You'll have to wait till the video's out. Basically, as I was huffing and puffing and breathing, not very nicely to listen to, I was greeted by "It's on, Andrew," with 1 meter to go to cross the line, and I burst out laughing. And that's when I looked at my watch. I got in 1:32 flat.
Dude.
So massively pleased. And do you know what was funny? During the race, because obviously it's up and it's down, it's up and it's down. I was thinking, I literally had this thought. I was thinking, am I running fast enough downhill? Don't cruise downhill. Go hard downhill, because this could be the difference between a PB and not. There's no reason to hold pace downhill. The gravity is helping you just stride down those hills. So that's what I was doing. So I was running a lot faster than I probably had been pacing the day. But I just thought, no, you've got to take advantage of those downhills, haven't you?
Yeah.
And that's
same effort you're putting uphill. Just keep that effort going, yeah. So average your effort across the whole race.
for the sake of a couple of beats per minute rise, I just thought, yeah, we just got to go hard down these hills, and I did. And Alpha Flies, what I had on my feet, I really like those shoes. Genuinely love them. Well, I did get overtaken, which did annoy me, with about 600 to go, and I did try and catch up with this dude, but I got within about 10 meters of him, and I just ran out of road. I just couldn't. But my problem was I started my final sprint at the top of the hill. But I knew that the time that I'd lost going up and down those, well, mainly up those hills in that first 11 mile, I knew that the best chance I had to PB was in that last 2 kilometers. I knew if I could hit those 2Ks hard and empty the tank and give it everything, then I'd have a chance of doing well. And that's exactly what I did. And I had to do nearly 10K pace, nearly 5K pace to finish the race. But yeah, that saved me, I reckon, about 40 seconds off my time if I'd have just cruised down at, the pace that I was running the whole thing at. So, that was the story of my day. And
I tell you what, though, you're making a bit of a habit of it because you were 1 second away from being a 1:31 runner.
Don't.
You did the same as you did in Valencia. All you needed was that extra second.
I reckon, because I said at the top of the hill to the camera, I'm not even going to look at my watch now. I'm just going to go. And I wish I had now, because if I'd have seen I was, 55, 56, 57 well, maybe not that late into the race, because all you can see is blooming stars by that point. But if I'd have realised I was coming towards the end of a minute, I probably would have pushed a bit harder a bit earlier on. But hindsight's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
But as I said at the start of the podcast, I'm actually quite glad I didn't go out with Kieran, who paced the 1:30, because I think that might have been a stretch too far. Even though it's only a few seconds faster per kilometre or mile, it makes a big difference.
1 second per mile over a half is a big change. So it's not like it's easy just to add that extra second, because if it was easy, you'd be doing it every single race.
Yeah.
So
and just quickly before you give us your good news, I managed, I'm pretty sure, let me just back this up with actual stats. I'm pretty sure I've got some good news that I negative splitted.
Ooh.
I did. So I did 46.30 in the first 10.5K. And then the second 10.5K, I did 45.27. So 57 seconds, is that? 53 seconds, 50, I can't.
Yeah.
You're 53 seconds faster. So,
Amazing.
Yeah. So
it wasn't long ago that you were struggling to try and run a 45-minute 10K, and you've just run one in the second half and a half.
Yeah, madness. I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand it. But absolutely buzzing with that.
It's awesome to see your progression, dude. The way you've come on is incredible. Love it,
man. So 57 second negative split. So happy with that.
What did your split like wave look like?
Yeah, just mainly even, but with a little bump up at the end. But I knew, I don't know. I'll just hold this up to the camera. I don't know if you can see that, but I knew towards.
Nice.
I knew in the middle of the race, it's very, very bumpy. So just take advantage of the downs and just buckle up.
Yeah.
For the uphills and just hang on. And I knew I wouldn't run even splits, but I'm so glad I decided to put my foot down the hills. So it was a good race, and really, really pleased.
Yeah, you can see on my splits, you can see the miles that were more uphill and the miles that were more downhill. You can see the difference in the pace. It's mad. But I had a surprisingly great race. I don't know where it came from. I don't know how I managed to run the pace I did. But I knocked 27 seconds off my PB from Worcester last year.
Amazing.
And came in 1 hour 18 and 13 seconds. So 78:13, which
that's mad, because you couldn't break 120 this time last year.
I know.
And here you are, low 118s.
I know. So 118 low is crazy. I didn't expect that. So yeah, I am super happy with that. Went out with a big group of guys, and we were pretty much a real good pack for the first 5K. Then the hills came and it started to spread out a little bit, but I was still with a decent pack. But by the time we got to about 7 mile, it just proper spread out, and it was basically you were on your own for the rest of the race. And that's where it started to get tough at about 7 mile. But just knuckled down and pushed on, and managed to get there and PB. So pretty pleased with that. It means that I have now broken the 6-minute mile barrier for a half. So I averaged 5:58 a mile, which I am super happy with.
Amazing.
Because my PB from my time from Worcester was 6-minute miles on the nose. So I'm now under that, which is crazy. I don't know how I quite managed that. But as you say, the last 2 mile were quick miles. I was running at 10k pace for that 13th mile, and then for the last 0.1 of a mile, I got down to 5:07 a mile. So I was going for it. But I will say, for the last 2 mile, I could hear someone hunting me down behind, someone chasing me, and they were getting closer and closer all throughout that last 2 mile. And as we turned into the car park of the race course, he came up onto my shoulder, and I looked to the side, and he was about to come level with me. So I could hear him like kick, and he started to kick. So I tried to keep my pace with him all the way up to, do you know, the gateway into the race course, where you then went into that finish, like sort of, it wasn't a finish straight,
like the turnstile sort of thing.
Yeah,
like I know what you mean.
It wasn't a finish straight, was it? It was like a finish snake way,
a bit windy.
But when we hit there, that turnstile gate, I decided to kick there, and I managed to hold him off and not get past in the last little bit of the race.
That's epic, man.
As you said, there's nothing worse than that, is there? It just annoys the hell out of you if you get past in that last little bit of the race. So I managed to hold on, which was ace. But paces were pretty even. But as I say, you can see the miles where the hills were, and you can see the miles where it wasn't so hilly. So
it's like on off, on off, on off.
Yeah, but I said to myself at one point during the race, I was like, I have no idea how I'm managing to keep up this pace, but I'm going with it. I'm just going to keep on pushing and see what happens.
Nice.
But no, it was ace. Really good day, and PBs for the both of us.
Can you hear this?
Yes.
Did you hear it?
Yes.
It's on Andrew. It just made me laugh going through the finish line. I was like, come on, should you taking life seriously here, Brett? Stop making me laugh. But so you must have been buzzing wearing your new kit as well.
Yes.
You had the Ethiopia vest on.
I did, yes. Ken and Issa, Brett Cayley.
Yeah. So when you wear stuff like that, though,
like that was the thing. There was pressure on. I couldn't run slow wearing that, could I? No,
it's like I've worn the Kenya top a few times. I wished I hadn't. It's not a very good look when you're walking up 4 miles wearing the Kenya top. You can't. You've bonked at Parkrun. So
that's the other thing that was controversial. So what shoes do I normally race every half and lower in?
Takumi Sense anything. Takumi Sen 8s, 9s or 10s, whatever you've got.
So for Sunday's Warwick half, I wore the Pro 3s.
Ah, so what was your thinking for that then?
I just wanted a bit more comfort. I didn't want to smash my legs to smithereens, which you do when you're wearing lower stack shoes, because they're so snappy and the stack is lower. It's not got so much cushioning. Yes, you get that speedy propulsion, but you also batter your legs. And I thought, I'm in a marathon block. I don't want to be smashing my legs to pieces too much. So I just wanted a bit more comfort. I wouldn't say that personally, I don't think the Pro 3s are as fast as the Takumi Sens. I think they're smoother and more cushioned, so you can keep a nice pace more consistently, but I don't think they're as fast and snappy. But I just wanted that comfort, so I went for that, but it paid off. So
amazing. Well, I was thinking a similar thing as well. I know I've worn these Alphas a few times now, and they just really feel good. Like the Alpha Fly version 1s for me, they just feel fantastic. And I just thought, I know it's a half, and I've run historically really well in my Takumis as well, but I'm going to go for my Alphas here because I just think they're going to really help me, because it's not a flat course and I know I'm going to need an arm around my shoulder.
You PB'd in Cardiff as well, though?
Yeah, I did wear them, to be fair.
Yeah, so they were they were going to work.
I think so, yeah. But I weirdly felt, maybe I was just really tired, I don't know, but I weirdly felt like I could have maybe gone a bit faster in my Takumis on that last mile, maybe, because I feel like the Alpha Fly for me doesn't really. I feel like it's endurance over speed. It's like, like I don't think I'd reach for those Alpha Flies for let's say a 5K PB attempt. I don't know.
Yeah, same as I feel about the Pro 3s and the Takumis. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, they are for the longer distances. They feel smooth and like you could consistently keep that pace, but they don't feel as fast.
No, it's like, it's almost a bit, well, everyone knows how clumpy the Alphas are, but you just feel like, right, I want to pick the pace up now. You know how you're wearing the Takumis and they just feel like streamlined, weightless pieces of beautiful technology. Sometimes when you really want to run hard in those like Alpha Flies, they just feel a bit bulky.
Yeah.
Even though they're pretty much weightless and they weigh the same, they feel heavier because the mass of them is bigger. And I don't know if that's weighs on my mind slightly, or maybe there is a bit of science there. I don't know. But I feel like we keep saying it. I know we've said this every time we ever mention them, but those Takumi Sens are just so snappy.
Yeah.
And they are just so good at responding to pace and you picking up the pace, aren't they? So yeah, horses for courses. Maybe I need to try those Alpha Flies for a 5K, because I know a lot of people do swear by them. But but I am glad of the shoe choice I made, because I think the Takumis on that course, on my feet that day, I might have needed a bit more comfort and cushion. Maybe down those hills as well. It would have felt, my knees would have been jarring a little bit in the Takumis.
Yeah.
But
an awesome day all round for not just us, but a huge amount of people who ran really well.
And that hopefully puts an end to Warwick is not a PB course, because it is.
Yeah.
Because so many courses out there are hilly, and you think, well, it's hilly, so you've no chance of a PB. And you've talked yourself out of one before you've even started the race. But, it's possible. It's definitely possible. What goes up must come down.
Exactly. Right. So are we pretty much done, apart from the Strava segment?
Here we go. It's time. It's time.
It is. So it's time. Let me just pull up the Strava leaderboard. So for last week's leaderboard, once again, we have somebody over 100 mile for the week.
Wow.
was it Martin last week as well? Martin Peck. He has run 106.9 miles, which is a hell of a week. So
that's
amazing work, Martin.
Intense.
Yeah. In second is Kyle Blacketter with 79.3 miles. And third is Ryan Gorn with 75.7 miles. So amazing work. And then for our climbing top three, Ryan Gorn, or is it Gowan? I don't know. I'm going to go with Gorn. But if I'm saying it wrong, Ryan, please correct me if it's actually supposed to be Gowan. But he climbed 5,779 foot over the week.
5,000. Blooming hell. What's he doing? Kilimanjaro. Jesus Christ.
Martin Peck, our distance leader, did 5,725 foot. And Nick Island was third with 5,535 foot.
That's serious.
Some awesome running there. And our top three ladies I prepared this week. And in first was Chloe Hamard with 57.3 miles. Second was Victoria Lee with 52.9 miles. And third was Rachel Watson with 44.3 miles. So amazing running from everyone.
Dee's seething.
I know,
yeah. She's absolutely seething.
Well, she's having a recovery week, isn't she, after the Dopey Challenge? She'll be back up there soon.
Yeah. She'll be back with 200 mile next week, just to make sure.
But amazing running from everyone. Thank you so much. If you're not a part of the Strava group, go and join it on Strava, and you never know, you might be on the leaderboard one week.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Amazing work.
Did you see what I put on my my Strava today?
I didn't know.
On the notes, I said blah 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 blah, running, and I said, got a good running today, training for tonight's podcast. Can we finally go sub 2? No.
no, we can't.
No. So pointless 17K. But I did put an alien emoji. Just for you, Jamie.
Yeah,
Ian listening.
They're out there. But on that, we shall call it a night there. Thank you so much for listening or watching, and we shall see you next week. Cheers, guys.
Take it easy.